Was it a productive meeting with President-elect?
It was an excellent conversation.
How are you talking about your relationship with Donald Trump?
Like 8 on a beta cam. Oh, it's way better. Heads up. Just cruising. Yeah, that looks like it.
Yeah, I mean, this is an existential crisis for Canada. I mean, Trump has talked about putting a 25% tariff on all Canadian products, including oil from Canada. And 75% of all trade, or 77% of all trade from Canada goes to the US. Most of the population situated along the border. So there's a lot of people rely on the US-Canada relationship for their livelihoods. So it was important in Trudeau's mind to go and have some FaceTime with Trump before he takes office and try to get this 25% tariff threat removed.
Prime Minister, was it a productive meeting with President-elect?
It was an excellent conversation.
How are you talking about your relationship with Donald Trump?
This was something that was put together very quickly, and Trudeau met with Trump and some incoming Trump cabinet officials at Mar-a-Lago. They had dinner for about 3 hours. They discussed border security. They discussed fentanyl. They discussed NATO, Ukraine, Canada hosting the G7 next year. They discussed pipelines. Canadian officials said it was a positive conversation. So the relationship between Canada and the United States is so important for Canada and important for the United States. I mean, 36 states have Canada as its largest trading partner. The United States is by far Canada's largest trading partner, with 77% or more of its exports going to the United States. The United States imports a ton of oil. It is the largest oil export market for Canada, the United States. So the relationship's so integrated, so important, that it doesn't so much matter if the two leaders agree or not agree. They have to work together.
Like 8 on a beta cam. Oh, it's way better.
So Trump made the tariff threat on Monday, citing an influx of migrants entering the United States illegally. But the numbers between the U.S. and Canada pale in comparison. I mean, the U.S. Border Patrol made about 56,000 arrests at the border in October alone. You compare that to from Canada, the numbers are like 23,000 over the course of an entire year. And in terms of fentanyl crossing from Canada to the United States, we're talking the U.S. Border Service seized about 43 pounds of fentanyl compared to about 21,000 pounds at the Mexican border. So the numbers are not even close. How much of this is Trump's bluster? How much of it is real? I mean, he did apply tariffs on Canadian steel and aluminum during his first term, and then Canada retaliated with tit-for-tat tariffs as well. So it remains to be seen whether the Trump administration and Trump will apply the tariffs on day one. Is it likely that he applies the 25% tariff on Canada? That would be hard to imagine, because, as I say, it would hurt Canadian and American citizens.
Well, that's disastrous, really, for what we say is always important, which is energy and food security across North America, not just in Canada or the U.S. And so we're going to support the federal government in their engagement efforts. We're going to engage as Canada's 13 premiers through the Council of Federation table, and it really doesn't build us towards that broader goal that we have of a strong continental security situation, whether it's food security, energy security, manufacturing security. We're very integrated across that 49th parallel, and I think President Trump and the United States of America and all Americans know that as well. But at times we maybe have to remind ourselves of this. And so there's a conversation coming, and the goal here is to build that stronger economy across the continent of North America. And we can only do that together. We can't do that in isolation, and nor can the U.S.
If he's not bluffing, and if he goes forward with a 25% tariff on all Canadian goods going into...
We received the biggest threat we've ever received from our closest friends and ally, from President-elect Trump, that they're threatening to put a 25% tariff on all goods coming across the border into the U.S. and Mexico. What I found unfair about the comments is to compare us to Mexico. And I can tell you, Canada is no Mexico. We do approximately, just Ontario alone, $500 billion of two-way trade. I found his comments unfair. I found them insulting. It's like a family member stabbing you right in the heart. I had a conversation with the Prime Minister after he spoke to President-elect Trump last night. The threat is serious. We need to do better on our borders. We need to give the resources to CBSA, which are fine people. And I know, talking to other premiers last night, that we will do everything we can as provincial governments and territorial governments to secure our borders. Well, hopefully we won't come to that, but if it does, there is no choice. We have to retaliate. We have to retaliate, not against the Americans, the administration that has made a wrong call on this. It's very simple. And you ask any American, and I know thousands of Americans, and endless governors and senators and congressmen and women, if they feel Canada is a threat. At the end of the day, there's no two closer allies, more of an open border than Canada and the U.S. And I want to emphasize, to compare us to Mexico is the most insulting thing I've ever heard from our friends and closest allies, the United States of America. We want to work together, we will work together, and we'll resolve this problem.